Hey guys, and welcome back to Master Sight. Today we have our game 3 of Lady of the Lake. It's going to be my Kingdom's Men versus a new face to the channel here and a new player that I haven't played before, Phillip, and his Elves. Phillip is or now from the Minneapolis area. I believe he said he was originally started playing in the Austin area, but that was a couple years ago. I think he said he's taken a couple year break, so he's getting back into Kings of War and playing his elves at Lady. I think this was his first event in a little while, so really great to see a new face and to be able to play him. And he was doing pretty well for his first couple games. Had a couple of wins going into it, so I think we're at the top table at this point, playing each other. So um, really excited to play a new player. So let's go ahead, go over his list, and we'll hop into the game. So Philip here, he was taking a little bit different than the standard elves. So he has two regiments of Palace Guard, two hordes of Sea Guard, one of them with fire oil, two troops of Silver Breeze, a regiment of Stormwind with the Quicksilver Lancer upgrade and Brew of Strength, two hordes of Drakons, one with Stangstone, the other with J Boots, two lords on Drakon, and Argus. So he was coming out pretty elite at 12 drops, but a total of 27 unit strength, which was quite a bit. Um, and that is Philip right there. So he didn't have a whole lot of units, but he had a lot of unit strength, and I think he had one more unit strength than me going into it. So I looked at it and I decided that kill was going to be a pretty good scenario for this one. So kill at Lady is calculated off of unit strength. So you would earn one battle point for destroying your opponent's unit equal to the highest unit strength value. So he has two hordes of Sea Guard, both at unit strength 4. So if I kill one of the Sea Guard hordes, then I get that point. You receive one battle point for winning the scenario, and one more if you destroy double the unit strength rounded up than your opponent destroyed of yours. So that the last part's going to be tough, but if I win the scenario and I kill a unit strength 4, that was kind of what I was going for. And Philip decided that control was the one that he wanted to play, um, which I think I'm actually okay with too. I don't think this was a bad scenario for me at all against his army, just because he didn't have very many units in general, and I had the deployment dominated with the scrying gem and the captain. So this is our field here. There are a lot of hills. So we have forest, 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 hill, 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 and then an obstacle. So again, very large hills, and this one is tough to see, but these hills are like 3 or 4 inches off the table, and it even has a troll model coming out of like a cave on this part. So these hills are obnoxious for trying to place units on them. So and this is after deployment and after redeployment and everything here. So um, we'll just go in a little closer. So Philip deployed very centralized and boxed off. He has both of his Sea Guard hordes here in front, his one of his Drakon hordes in the back, Argus and the Silver Breeze troop. That's all. Yep. So he also has his Knight Champion, another Silver Breeze troop behind. The two Palace Guard are here. In between is a Drakon Lord, Drakon Horde, the Stormwind Regiment, and then the last Drakon character out on the far right. For me, I went ahead and put a couple of chaff pieces on the far left behind the hill over here just to kind of for the control scenario. So both my militia mobs and my one of my generals on wing beasts. I had a bolt thrower out there as well, or ballista, and then in the center, I'm kind of hiding behind the hill. So I know he wants to come after my unit strength 4 units with the kill scenario. So I'm gonna try to draw him in and mitigate as many bow shots as possible with the two hordes of Sea Guard. Also, this I believe was, yeah, this was one of my Pegasus characters there. I have a giant beast cav just toe on. They can see over the hill anyway, but my knight champion in the center, another peg hero, spear phalanx, polearm horde, the other ballista, the horde of rifles. My other general on wing beasts is right on the line up here. Spear phalanx on the far right, and giants. So with his deployment, I decided I wanted to push up strong on the right hand side. So I do get first turn, and that's kind of what I do. I don't move the front at all, the middle of the line at all. So left, I move out of arc. Um, I think I lied. Phillip got first turn. He just hardly moved. He nudged forward a little bit, took shots at the giant. That was it. And then he repositioned a couple things. So I'm sorry. Phillip got first turn. So this is after bottom of one. So Phillip's movement, he was just repositioning a little bit, pushing up a little bit. Yeah, pretty standard stuff. My positioning, I went ahead and played aggressive with the spear phalanx. I pushed them up to where the giant can't get double charged by the knight regiment and the Drakon horde. I'm in range of both, but I can get charged by the Lord on Drakon and one of those two. So kind of baiting it in, very similar to the game against Jeff, where if he does that, my spear phalanx will have a flank where my general's position. If he does bring the double charge in, that's going to leave the regiment of knights or the horde of drakons exposed to a flank charge from the general. So I'm just trying to entice him to commit over here against that giant. And then on the left, I went ahead and moved up, and my lord over here is out of range of being charged, I believe. Maybe I said screw it. I'll stay in range of being charged. I forget exactly. Yeah, so we go to Philip's turn, and again moves a little bit forward with the center, and then starts pointing out towards the flanks with everything. So the Drakons are, making sure they don't get flanked. The Silver Breeze are just running up here. Um, yeah, and then he took that double charge against the Giant, and he's coming in with some more guys to follow it up. I should say my shooting did shoot at and waver this Drakon Lord in the center. I got pretty lucky with the waver. I think I did like 3 wounds on him or 4 wounds on him total. So definitely lucky there. Yep. Bit better look at the positioning here and the double charge. So the knights are kind of scary since they have bruised strength, so they're wounding my giant on 2s, but with 16 attacks, Yeah, they're elite. I still should only be taking about 10 or 11 wounds from that unit. Probably 10, I think, is average. And then the character has 5 attacks, and he should only convert about 3. So we're looking at a 7 twice for him to kill my giant. But, he does 17 wounds instead of 13. So he was on snakes twice, and yeah, his Drakon Lord came in, rolled to start, and did 5 for 5. It was like, all right, here we go. Um, and then his knights, I think he did 18 wounds total. So I was counting. I'm like, yeah, so that's 18 wounds out of 21 attacks. I mean, elves are elite. So some definitely some good rolls starting off there, but I can't really complain. I got a lucky waiver as well. So um, yeah, and after that happened, I just took a lot more time on my second turn than I was expecting, because when the board looks like that, and I just don't feel confident about the right flank near as much anymore, and he has a couple more units backing it up. I need some stuff going my way here, but the one benefit of his move is he did kind of leave the center open, with the Sea Guard and these Dracons looking this way, everything else looking this way. There's really nothing threatening the middle of the board, so I got to play aggressive now, in the spots where he's not looking over. So I go ahead and run forward. His Dracon lord or horde can still see the giant here, so I did throw a Pegasus out in front just to prevent him from being able to charge, because they can't see the beast cav, which are slightly in front of that giant. So blocking the charge off to the giant right now. It does come with a downside of if he wavers the Pegasus in front of me, my giant's just not going to really do anything. I want him to probably charge this next turn, and that's just not going to happen if he wavers the peg. So I did go ahead and move the general around out of front arc of the Drakon, so we're just going to do a little song and dance, and I'm also out of 20 inches of this back Silver Breeze unit. This Silver Breeze unit shot and wavered my guys here off a few wounds. Militia mob, they like to get wavered, so. Uh, and then on the right, I did what I think was really the only viable move, which is double charge the Drakon character. I definitely can't. I need to control those Drakon characters, when we're playing control and when I don't really have answers to pin them down if they get behind me. Um, so I keep shooting at the other Drakon Lord, and I pin this guy down with a flank and a front. And with any luck, I might be able to break that guy. So and I got some luck. So the dice, swung back. I did pretty good with the flank, 30 attacks. I think I did like 8 wounds with the spears, which is great. That's definitely above average. And then after they overrun, or after my general backs up first and they overrun, and with where it's positioned, it blocks off the front, which everything that could charge him is in the front. So nothing can fit there. So it saves my general this turn and allows him to recycle charge and for the next turn. And the Spear Phalanx should be good against whatever he brings in. Palace Garter is best bet, but I don't think he really wants to be double charging a Spear Phalanx with, a Knights or a Drakon, even. They're not going to do a whole lot to him. So, um, but yeah, Philip's turn. I believe this is top 4 now. One, two, no, top 3. So, Philip goes ahead and he starts pushing stuff forward. So he wasn't playing it patiently anymore. He was going. So this horde of Dracons just flew straight ahead. and said they're going after this ballista, who again wavered the other Drakon in combination with this ballista and the bowman. So definitely happy about that. And yeah, he didn't didn't want to deal with this general dancing while I was also pushing up the front. So he got the Drakons out of danger, and I know his goal is to bring him back into the fight, in a couple turns here. So my answer to that is I have to be able to take care of the middle combats and be able to turn and face. I can't have Drakons coming in the flank or rear late in the game. And so that's where he moved that. He did pick up the one of the regiments of militia. I think I just took these pictures as shooting was starting. And he keeps peppering the giants with his hordes. But I am keeping the giant fairly healthy just because I have the barkskin token being provided to him. So, this is it's been 2 turns of that, so mitigating 2 wounds altogether. So he does take the double charge with the Palace Guard and the Knights. He charged the Drakon Horde with J Boots into my Bowman fair. But yeah. Oh, so he did shoot. I'm sorry. He shot at the Pegasus this turn, and he did kill the Pegasus. I should also say his charge with his Knight Champion into the Beast Cav, just to block them up for this turn, which I don't know if he really needed to. I mean, the phalanx from the Sea Guard, they're not going to be break to the Beast Cab in the front, even comboed with the Giant. I guess it protects his Palace Guard a little bit, but yeah, I don't know if I am a huge fan of just running the Knight out by itself in this situation. So, combat. So those yeah, the Cav over here on the right are just rolling out of their mind. I think they did like eight or 9 wounds, even though they're affected by phalanx and ensnares, so hitting on 5s with elite. Um, yeah, and only wounding on 3s. It was pretty disgusting what he did with them. So he definitely killed him. But I do have him in a difficult situation where that general is looking right at him, and then Spear Phalanx is looking in their flank now. So he did have to, you know, give up a little something here. So my turn, movement wise, I decide center needs to commit. Like I said, I need to clean some stuff up in here in order to make sure these Drakons aren't going to be looking at my flanks and rears when I'm engaged on this front. So a little closer look. Flank front over there. I'm pretty happy with that. I think that I should be able to grind out a horde in 2 turns because if he keeps, hitting the giant in the front, I still get a flank, and I'm not being affected by the phalanx, and I keep my thunder charge. Well, I don't need my thunder charge. I'm crush 2 against defense 4, but um, I think the general in the flank and giant in the front for 2 turns should be enough. And then if he decided to countercharge the general, the way these guys are positioned, the giant is actually going to be in the rear when he goes to charge the second turn. So I don't think he really wants that, but we'll find out here. And then I brought in my Knight Champion and the Beast Cav into his Knight Champion. I just ran the Captain over here so that he's inspiring this Giant. The Giant is out of front arc of everything else over here, so there's the Giant's going to be safe for at least this turn, except for potential counter charge into him. he is sitting on a decent number of wounds, so I didn't want to just leave him hanging. Give him a little bit of support there. And then I went ahead and double flanked with the hero on peg and the spear phalanx. And yeah, my dragon or lord over there went into the front. Shooting, I finally killed off the Drakon Lord. I say finally, I got pretty lucky with two waivers the first two turns and then a kill. So combat, we kill his Knight Champion, which is pretty darn good. You know, it's 14-16. The Beast Cav were already disordered, so they're only crush one with Vicious. The Knight Champion having 6 attacks, wounding on twos, though, so pretty decent. And did kill the Regiment of Knights with the double flank charge and the front, which was great. And afterwards, I overran with the Peg Hero, which blocked off the Palace Guard. So that allowed me to turn my general to where I can see the Drakons, and then I can see in towards the center as well. And now the pole arms are finally kind of getting into it. The I know the Drakons are going to be here for one more turn, so I need to just bring them in and finish off those Drakons with them, hopefully. But Philip's going to try to shoot him because that's one of his objectives here, and it's a defense 3 horde, so elf shooting can definitely shred through defense 3 quickly. So a little closer. So Philip did take the charge on the ballista, and which I don't think is bad necessarily, but I would think personally I would have rather seen him just turn around over here and threaten these units and this unit. That forces me to then, if I do kill his unit this next turn, I have to look at the Drakons, and I can't look at these units over here. So I think going after a 60-point ballista with a horde of Drakons and effectively taking you out of the game for another 2 turns because of that was a mistake on Philip's part. And I think he could have also killed this eventually with his Silver Breeze group that's over here because they're, 2 turns they mopped up a regiment of militia mob. They're probably going to do the same thing to this one. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to, have that flank down. And I'm not too worried about it. So. And then he did charge the Pegasus as he kind of had to. He just moved forward to get shots on the unit that was touching the hill. And then he charged the Beast Cav again with the Palace Guard in order to kind of hold them up. But again, I don't think he needs to be afraid of these Beast Cav with his hordes of phalanx. I'm just not breaking anything with those. As we expected, he kills the ballista. He did waver the militia mob first, so he knew that I wasn't going to be able to charge them, which was one of the things I set up in the previous turn. So, yep, good play by him. And then he did choose to countercharge the general. His thought process was he just wants to sit the general down. I think I put him up to like 14 wounds on the first turn with both of these guys in the combat. So he's kind of feeling even if he countercharges the giant's probably going to kill him off just by itself. I, knowing giants, would have kept the flank charge in, but he just wanted to keep that general pin down there for a turn. So I don't blame him. And then over on the right, that's just my positioning here. So this is on to my turn. He, did a wound to the hero. I went ahead. I'm sorry, this isn't my turn yet because he killed the bowman horde, and because of where my spear phalanx was positioned from when I charged the calf, I haven't moved them since then. So I am almost right up. I'm right up against his unit, preventing him from doing anything but basically a 180, which is what he does. So I'm guaranteeing myself the flank with this polearm horde, and that's what we do. So going into a bottom of 5, I believe it is now. I just withdraw and turn to face. No, over here, no reason not to. I take the front and the flank over here. Um, I went ahead and did the same thing to the palace guard over here, front and flank with the character, and then I think, oh, this was something. So after he killed the ballista, what he was looking at is he just reforms 180, and then my beast cav, where he's been pinning him down. After I do a counter charge because my knight champion forced his unit off to the side, my beast cav countercharging would have brought them closer to the dracons and gotten within 20 inches. But I went ahead and used my captain to prevent that from happening. So the captain is just out of 20 inches, and so is the beast cav unit here. Take that flank here, and I believe I also had the winged beast in the flank, and my Pegasus was wavered this last turn from his one wound he took, so I just charged in the spear phalanx and left the Pegasus where it was. Did good and killed a horde of dracons, reforming for stuff to be in our front, and then also majority in the forest for the shooting that we know we're gonna take here. We do kill the horde of palace guards, so that's a point for us in the kill scenario, and we reform like that. So dragon is, or I say dragon, general is facing down towards our deployment zone here, and the beast cav killed that unit. We go ahead and sidestep the beast cav up onto the hill a little bit more, and then our knight champion went ahead and sidestepped just to be a pain and block up this horde sea guard. Now that I have a giant that's going to be able to get back into the fight over this way, if he charges the individual, I'm definitely going to be in range. So, and the individual is mighty, so he's fairly limited because I did not actually come within an inch of him, so he isn't going to be able to do much of anything besides maybe a little bit of a reform or side shuffle, or just have to take the charge against me. So top of 6, Phillip does just sidestep over there. He takes the flank of the uh, spear phalanx and the front, trying to break them up, and then he brings the Dracon horde this way, keeping out of 20 of my general. And he just keeps backing up over here and shooting the militia mob, as you do. Turns out 2 turns is all it takes. Militia mob's down. He wavers the spear phalanx this turn, so that that's pretty good for me. It would have been pretty crappy to lose them at this point in the game. That's 3 unit strength right there. We're pretty close on the unit strength scenario. It's definitely not a clear. It's not clear who's winning it at this point. Um, we probably have very close to the exact same killed and left. So bottom of 6 for me. I think it's bottom of 6. No, it's bottom of 5. I go ahead and just charge everything into the large unit strength horde. I bring this in to try and kill the silver breeze off, and I take the flank on the what are they called? Palace guard. And then this was a pretty key move here. Now that we're getting close to the end of the game, I'm looking at the control scenario more. So I want to control the middle 2 for sure. I know that he has a Silver Breeze. He's going to control one of the left. So I position my general to where um, anywhere this Drakon unit goes, my general's going to be able to charge it unless he backs up. So I gave him the option to back up 5 inches and be out of front arc of my general on winged beasts on his turn 6. But if he takes the backup, that puts him in the bottom left corner, allowing me to guarantee the win for control. So, because if he stays in the center, I have unit strength 3 in the beast cav right now, and then I have many other unit strengths with the knight champion, this guy, this general as well. So it actually benefits him to back up and go and take his two control zones to get +1 battle point. So I'm basically, this is kind of a loose truce at this point. He can definitely gamble and stay in the bottom center and risk me charging him and then coming in with some more stuff too. Or I'm definitely offering him at this point, like, you can have these two over there, just stay over there. So a little bit better look at that. And then over on the right, again, these spear phalanx were wavered, so they're just staying where they are. All right, and I think I don't break anything this turn. Yeah, because so that was the end of my turn, and uh, I brought the house in over here. Now, granted, everything in the front's affected by the phalanx, the general, the beast cav, and the knight champion, and then the giants in the flank. I end up wavering his horde, and then I end up wavering the silver breeze. I think maybe I don't even waver him actually, but I do waver the palace guard. Or no, I don't waver the palace guard. This is his turn. So I don't waver. I only waver the sea guard. So then on Philip's turn, he charges the spear phalanx, kills them off, and then he just countercharged here. Did very little. He did, after much deliberation, end up backing up the horde, and I think, yep. So so he ended up back there, and he brought these guys over to shoot at my general, which he's up to 6 wounds, so getting a little dicey now, but he's fine. So on my turn, I believe, yeah. So on my turn, I go ahead and I'm looking at terrain and the control zones at this point. This Pegasus is in the top right, so it has that control zone. I have unit strength 4 in the bottom right, so I move the Knight Champion and even the Dragon down here. So I guarantee myself this one. The Giants in the top center, and then the Beast Cav and the General are in the bottom center. So I have control on lockdown, and then I just go ahead and wipe up the unit strength. So the end of the game here, I didn't get a picture after all was said and done, but I do pick up all these units over on this side, and I win all 4 control zones here. I have the majority of the terrain as well for an additional bonus point, and I killed over 1900 attrition. So I got everything except for the one part of kill, which is the double unit strength over your opponent. So in the end, out of the possible 10 points, I got a 9. So on at the end of the day one, we got a 10, an 8, and a 9, with Kingdoms of Men somehow. So I feel pretty lucky at this point to have done as well as I did on day one. Um, Turns out the army isn't too bad. It's playing fairly well in general, rolling fairly well. I think the shooting is for the points. The shooting is actually much higher quality than I gave it credit for, and I think in every game the little bit I invested in shooting has actually paid off quite big. And then also the Giants, knock on wood, day one, the Giants actually pulled their weight. The one unit that I'm somewhat disappointed in is these Beast Cap. They've just been taking a punch more than doing anything, but the reason they're in the list is to actually deal out some damage, and they just haven't really been doing that. So but there's always day two, so we'll see how they do on game four and game five, Lady, coming out shortly here. So I appreciate you all for watching, and stick around for the next one.